Okay, vocabulary word number 1. To have a good ear. To be particularly good at listening to and then repeating music, poetry, or foreign languages. Somebody can have a good ear for language, but you can even say something like grammar. Oh, he has an ear for grammar, or he has an ear for whatever. She has an ear for music. And just bonus, people can also say eye. Like, you have a good eye for, finding employees, or good eye for art, good eye for whatever. So basically it means you have good judgment when you see something. And for here, to have a good ear, you have good judgment for listening, right? So, yeah, maybe one of your friends, they can hear a song, and then they can just play it on their guitar, right? They hear it on the radio, and after a few minutes, they can figure it out and play it. Like, wow, you have a really good ear, right? Or a piano, whatever. Next, to come down to. If you look at me for a second, so to come down means like to reduce down to the basic level, right? It's similar to boil down to, right? So imagine you have a big pot of water and there's stuff inside. You boil it, the water disappears, right? Then at the very bottom, you have only what's really in there, right? So the true basic essential stuff, right? So it means, to be dependent on a specific factor. The example is, no matter what you do to be happy, it all comes down to where your heart is, right? So it means essentially, it matters, all that matters is what you care about, or essentially it all comes down to where your heart is. We can use this about learning English. Learning English comes down to practicing and studying, right? Or it comes down to talking and reading, right? Maybe, winning the presidency comes down to popularity or something like that, right? Pliable just means like flexible or changing easily. Specifically, in this example, children's brains, right? Children aged 3 to 7 have the most pliable brains. You can change it and adapt it, and they can learn easily. Tonal is kind of from tone, so tonal shift would be to change the sound of something, the tone of something. A tone in music might shift, for example, like Beethoven or Mozart. Sometimes it's kind of happy, then it changes to dark, right? So only if you are gifted to easily recognize tonal shifts. Right there, what they're talking about would be kind of like D sharp to D, right? So maybe only some people can notice a small change, right? Next, social light. As you know, maybe ite or light means kind of a person. A soul light is somebody who lives in Seoul. It's not a common word, but maybe you've seen it before, soul light. Okay, so maybe on Sueen's Facebook, it says, about me. I'm just a soul light who loves shopping, right? So that means you're somebody from Seoul who loves to shop, right? Here, social light would be somebody who likes to be social, right? So if you go to a big party and there's like one person walking to each group saying hi, they're a socialite, okay? They're not the person who likes to stay home and read a book on Friday. They like to go outside and meet people. Very similar word and equally common is social butterfly. As you can imagine, a butterfly flies to this flower, then they get up and they fly to a new flower. Then they fly to a new flower, then they fly to a new flower. One example would be my friend. she would hang out with my group of friends for dinner, and then maybe leave early to go to another group. And then she'll leave that group and go to another group, and then call us, hey, you should meet us at this other place. Like, you were already with us, just stay with us, right? She's always kind of going to another group, right? So if you're too social and you're always leaving, that would be called flaky. Flaky. If somebody's flaky, they're not really trustworthy, right? They're always kind of leaving your group. But that would be kind of the extreme version. Socialite alone is not bad, right? Some celebrities are socialites. They're not really good in the movies. They're not really good at sports or fashion. They're just popular because they know a lot of people, right? So that would be a socialite. Earlier you showed kind of an Andy Warhol art, the Lego art, right? Had Andy Warhol. That kind of reminds me of socialite. Some of the people around him, they weren't really good at anything, but they were socialites. They knew all the famous people in New York, right? And he would take their picture, right? Marilyn Monroe was kind of a socialite, right? Next, turn out means kind of like eventually, the answer appears, right? So, to be found, to be after experience or trial. The most quiet student in my class turns out to be the wackiest. Wackiest means weird or strange or funny. One example would be like when I was a little kid, my parents and we went to buy a dog, and there are the puppies, with the mother dog. And one of the dogs was in the corner, just quiet and laying down, just a small puppy. And the other ones were kind of running around. So my parents, they decided to get the quiet one in the corner. They said, wow, she looks so peaceful. This will be a perfect dog. And then we took her home, and her name was Angel, because she was like an angel, right? But actually, it turns out that she was not an angel, right? She was running around, killing the baby rabbits, right? Always nice to us, but she's not really an angel, right? So she's always running around doing stuff, digging a hole, finding some animal and fighting with it. Okay, chasing the cars on the road. But it turns out she's not an angel, right? So, yeah. Next would be underlying. It means basic or fundamental. Sometimes it kind of means hidden, but not exactly hidden, right? It just means like you don't see it at first, right? So maybe Tebu goes to the doctor. He says, whoa, doctor, I've got problems. I don't know what it is, but I can't sleep. I think I have some disease. And he keeps talking about all these problems. The doctor says, wow, you have a lot of problems, but there's one underlying cause. It's stress. So oh, that's why, So you have all these things, but underneath it all, there's one reason, right? Just stress, okay? So right here, the underlying reason for this problem is your laziness, right? Maybe you're talking with somebody like, oh yeah, my life is horrible. My boyfriend broke up with me. My job, fired me. My body is bad nowadays. I'm, not exercising. I don't have any money. Like everything's bad. And your friend says, hey, the underlying problem is you're lazy. You don't do anything. Okay?